CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications, and is carried on RAYNET-UK Talk Group 5023531, Brandmeister 23531, and if it's user activated, occasionally Pheonix 23531. Primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic, news, opinions and information. Additional information and announcements are available on the RAYNET UK website, which can be found at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you're instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name. If you wish to leave that immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, please make it clear you want to leave at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I will pause and review who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. If you do miss your turn, I will be calling for strays at the end of the UK station groups. As usual, I'll start taking check-ins to the net in call sign number order, starting as usual with stations with figure 8 in their call sign. Please go ahead now. This is G4 NRC. G4 NRC, second call for stations figure 8 in their call sign. Please go ahead, over. For NRC, no 8s today, so we'll go for 7. Stations figure 7 in their call sign. Please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, G7 in the 8. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. G4 NRC has got Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, and Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon to you both. Any other 7s, please, for G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, nothing heard, so 6s. Stations figure 6 on their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. Good afternoon, Golf 6, Partner Delta Echo, G6PD, in and out, please, Greg. November Yankee India, Alan, Pheonix RAYNET, in and out, but will be listening. Thank you, Greg. Over. For NRC, he's got Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, and Alan, Mike 6 November Yankee India. Good afternoon to you both. Both acknowledged as in and out. Any other 6s, please, for G4 NRC, over. For NRC, nothing heard or seen of any 6s. Let's have a call for any 5s. Stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. For NRC, nothing heard from the 5s, although I think we still only have 1 registered on the DMR system. Go for 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 NRC, over. G4 NRC, this is G4KUJ, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, Trevor in Watford. G4 and RC, he's got Trevor, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, who's also doing sterling work typing into the log sheet for me. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so it's the threes. Stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Golf 3 Victor, Echo on Sandwich. Good afternoon, Greg. In and out for me this afternoon, G3 VEH.
G4 and RC's got Chris, Golf 3 Victor Echo Hotel, and copied you in and out. Thanks, Chris. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. Mike 0, November, Alpha, Sierra, Mobile. Okay, so nothing heard from the threes. Let's carry on down, heading towards the zeros before anybody jumps it. Twos, intermediate twos, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call for any twos. Stations figure 2 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Echo 0, Tango Delta November. Good afternoon, Greg. Yes, in and out.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Steve. 2 Echo 0, Tango Delta November, and copied you in and out. Now down to the ones. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha, Peter in Aberdeen. Over.
G4 and RC's got Golf Mike 1, X-Ray Echo Alpha. Good afternoon, Peter. Any other ones, please, for G4 and RC, over? RC, nothing heard, so now we'll go for the Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier. Any Mike 0 stations, please go ahead, over.
Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha.
Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee.
Mike 0, Whiskey X-Ray Golf. Shirley in Cornwall. Thank you, Greg.
Mike 0, India Tango Mike, and me, Shirley, also in Cornwall, in out. Thank you, Greg.
G4 and RC, there's a suitable flurry to trip myself and Trevor up. So we've got M0 JSA, good afternoon to you, Alan. Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee, good afternoon, Guy. And Mike 0 November Alpha Sierra Mobile, question mark, for you, Neil. Good afternoon. I still only saw a thing pop up on screen, didn't hear any voice. Trevor obviously heard you better on a different side of the bridge. And then finally, Mike 0 Whiskey X-Ray Golf Shirley, and Mike 0 Indian Tango Mike Andy, the latter two checking in and out. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please go ahead now. G4 and RC, over.
M0 LOM, currently Mike Whiskey, Lima Oscar Mike.
G4NRC, then we'll do the decent thing for the confusion of the logger and we'll make it Mike Whiskey Zero Lima Oscar Mike. Good afternoon to you, Paul. Whatever your mobile station is doing okay. So we'll move on to the Mike Zeros into Golf Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4NRC, over.
Golf Whiskey Zero.
Yeah, GW0JLX, G4NRC. Andy, just try again. That call had 36% packet loss, so your call signer got nothing further than that, over.
Golf Whiskey Zero. Juliet Lima X-Ray. Andy, in and out this afternoon, please, Greg. Over.
G4NRC acknowledges Golf Whiskey Zero, Juliet Lima X-Ray, and has you as in and out that time. Thanks a lot, Andy. Any other Golf Zero stations of any regional secondary identifier, please go ahead. G4NRC, over. Hey, G4NRC, are there any UK stations that have missed their turn? Any UK stations that have missed their turn to call in? Please do so now. G4NRC, over.
Mike Zero, Juliet Victor Zulu, Les in Leicester.
G4NRC, good afternoon to you again, Les. Mike Zero, Juliet Victor Zulu, staying with us. And finally, for the check-ins, have we got any international liaison stations this week? Usually Nordstrom Band of Norway or Arran in Ireland. If so, any internationals, please call now. G4NRC, over.
Echo India 5, India Echo Bravo. It's Tom here in Dublin. No traffic for me. No breaks, just in and out.
Echo India 5, India Echo Bravo. Good afternoon to you, Tom. Hope it's a good day in Dublin and copied you in and out. Thanks for that. Right, let's hit church notices. Happy holidays, unless you're Scottish, of course. So, I understand people being a bit distracted over a reasonably warm bank holiday weekend for most of the country. The net continues to be live streamed by Graham G7NEH to YouTube as an experiment today. Live stream and recording is, as always, available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, on youtube.com. If you've got any comments, please drop them into the comments box on YouTube. And also would like to know whether you think it's worth it, or is it actually putting some people off participating? Just an idle thought that crossed my mind. You'll have seen in the news reports over the last few days that the normal 2-day desktop exercise by National Grid to test responses to a number of network scenarios has been doubled to 2 2-day events, so that they've got lots of scenarios to play with for energy in the UK this coming winter season. Not necessarily linked, but I'm aware of a national government-initiated Exercise Lima, where that's Lima Echo Mike Uniform Romeo, which is looking at responses to a national power outage and local LRFs being told, asked to do a desktop exercise themselves in November. So your local LRF might be inviting RAYNET groups along, and it seems that the LRFs might be taking a local response rather than a national one. You do need to remember that in our user services in the UK, the utilities are just as valid a user service as the local authorities, central ambulance and so on. And that links kind of nicely to today's odd question from the American Auxcom group on Facebook. If your local group is providing emergency comms support to your local user services after a catastrophic event, The national organisation you belong to is asked to activate for a major national disaster which is unrelated to your local event. You can't do both. Which one do you cover? The results I have from Facebook so far, I'm interested to see what you all think as we go around that one. Do we stay local or do we switch to the national disaster instead? Okay, back to the top of our list. Let's work our way down here. We've got to you first, Graham. Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G78. Good afternoon, Greg, and to all on the net. As Greg says, we're still streaming today. Those who are watching the stream will notice that I now have the RAYNET-UK DMR dashboard on screen rather than WX. So, say please leave any comments below. Just change the resolution and of the screen slightly. So whether you think it looks better or worse, let me know in the comments or the chat. So not a lot else from this end. Last week's net got about 19 views and 6 likes, which is good. And once again, if you're watching the stream, just hit that like button. It just goes to the YouTube algorithm. So there we go. So with that, back to you, G4NRC, G78.
G7 G4NRC returning. Okay, Graham, obviously I don't watch myself on the video I'm sending you, but I'm not looking at the YouTube one either. Just wondering if now you've got the RAYNET-UK dashboard up, if you still have the WX one available, would it show the satellite delay between the national system recognising and overstarting and then the time delay it takes to get to back to WX on a potentially different network? Because that's just what I have to keep looking to my right, as people might wonder on the video, just to see that both systems, Brandmeister and RAYNET-UK, are actually awake before I start talking. Okay, next to Dave. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Yeah, just watching the stream there, and there is a quite a delay on yourself, and when it's coming up on screen, because you've only just started talking about your last over now. Just for information, I'm just testing a new headset microphone, just a lightweight pocket type. Picked it up quite cheap on Amazon on the Linko. I'm just interested how my audio is. You can give us some feedback on that as well, please, Greg. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC returning. Okay, Dave, yeah, I was afraid or aware that we were going to get quite a bit of delay between my lips moving and what you hear coming out over DMR, because we're running over quite a few different coders and decoders. As the video leaves me, goes through a system, comes back to Graham, he munges it into the rest of the screen, and then it gets sent up to YouTube, which delays things again. So there is a degree of satellite delay there. Not pretty, but unless we start putting me on a 4-second swear loop or something like that on DMR, I don't know how we'd line it back up. Your audio is good level, sounding perhaps a little distorted to me, but you can't be overdriven because the level was good. So it was quite readable, Dave, not a problem, just didn't sound too crisp, but we'll see what others think about it, who might be better ears than I've got. Next to Trevor, G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, G4KUJ, good afternoon, Greg and everybody else. Yes, I agree that Dave's audio is slightly different, not quite as full bandwidth as normal. And it sounded slightly compressed to me, but quite readable. If I knew no different, I probably wouldn't comment if I was hearing it for the first time. What's happening at this end? Kilo 100 system still working fine. The bracket I ordered to make the dismounting on the little wall a permanent feature rather than the umbrella stand mount. Arrived during the week, it's all painted, and our builder friend made the mistake of dropping in for a cup of coffee during the week, so he's got a little job next week sometime mounting the bracket, which he's got to be low down, and with my dodgy hip I can't get down that low to do it at the moment. The only other thing I noticed was when the guy was involved in this, the fact that the Aylesbury group were using the server operationally yesterday for their Ridgeway Challenge event, which is good to see, and hope it encourages other groups to think about using the system operationally. And finally, I guess you'll be on 40 minutes this evening to try and pick up your message on Factor, Greg. G4NRC, G4K UK.
Okay, UJ, G4NRC returning. Okay, thanks for confirming the comments about Dave's audio. Yeah, if you hadn't said anything, Dave, I might not have noticed it too much. Trevor, as always, your audio is a little on the hot side, still louder than some other stations. Good news on the Aylesbury server being used. Just trying to find, because it wasn't the only use of DMR over the last week, and maybe it's one that Neil will fill us in on a bit more. But I think it was Essex RAYNET were using DMR for an air show I saw on the Facebook group. So there is more use of DMR happening out on events with decentralized infrastructure as well as the centralized stuff. Okay, let's go down to Peter. Or up to Peter, sorry, up to Aberdeen. Golf Mike 1, X-ray Echo Alpha, G4NRC, over.
Yes, good afternoon all from GM1XEA in what is currently a sunny Aberdeen. High level cloud, nice bit of sun, 18 degrees, which is just about perfect for Aberdeen. So, I wonder what's got into the BBC this year. They seem to be very keen to remind folks that it's not a bank holiday up here. Usually they blunder through, annoying us intensely by assuming that everybody's on holiday. However, such as live comments on the audio signal. As you say, Greg, we hadn't been told, we wouldn't have really realised that there was anything about it. And yes, a wee bit, I suppose lacking bandwidth would be the correct way to say it, just a bit soft around the edges. But a nice signal to listen to, not so aggressive or assertive as some. And on your question about whether we go for the existing local or change to a national, gut instinct would be to stay with the one that's already started. That would have to be tempered with the nature of the emergencies, but my instinct would be to stay with the first request, because that just seems a more logical thing to do. And the last comment from this end is, I've been missing for many weeks because Sundays have been chaotically busy with the ambulance service up here. But touching wood, the radio hasn't spoken to me at all today, and may it stay that way. Back to G4NRC from GM1XCA.
Golf Michael X-Ray Echo Alpha G for NRC returning. Okay, thanks for that. Thanks those who continue to comment on Dave's audio. So, Dave, it is not unreadable, it is perfectly readable, it's just different. Thanks for answering the question as well. I will summarise what's come out of the American group when we get to the end. And yes, I did think you'd been slightly distracted with your other duties for not being on. Okay, thanks, Peter. Next to Alan, who is going to be smiling because he's not going to be the last one on the net today. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, over to you, Alan. G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. From the intermittently sunny Suffolk. Been a lovely day. I've been up on the local club site all day, mostly on my own. We had a Japanese car meet today on the site, about 100 cars with lots of people, 2 burger bars and an ice cream van. And I was too busy to get any of them, so there you go. Been off for the last few weeks. Last week I was on a duty, the week before that I was on holiday, so sorry I haven't been about. The duty was a 999 services day at Carlton College Transport Museum. Public open day where they can order on display, police, fire, ambulance, and RAYNET, of course. I had about 1,000 people through the gate. Quite a lot of interest, including with RAYNET. There was a lot of people talking to us, particularly the youngsters. Just having a radio in the back of the Land Rover receiving the Shannon weather transmissions. It attracted lots of people in. They wanted to see what that was about, and we had handhelds on the PMR channel for them to talk to each other. That was really good. A really good day. Just take a pip. Because I hate to time out. Yes, other than that, nothing much to report from this end from a RAYNET perspective. I did notice I was in Great Malvern on holiday, and I took a handheld program up from all the local channels, and I think there was 6 analogue and a couple of DMRs, and they were all dead as a dodo. I didn't hear anything. I could hear a couple of people talking on Gloucester on VHF, but I couldn't get back to there, too far away. But that was as quiet as a grave, so that makes you wonder. Back to you, Greg. G4 NRC. M0 JSA, only 4 more to go.
JSA, G4 and RC returning. Yeah, I've just logged the comment there about Shannon Volnets being an attraction for people walking past the display stands. I mean, I'll admit it has a sort of ongoing soothing quality, like listening to the shipping forecast. And it's always there. It's a strong signal. I haven't thought of using it as a tool to get people to come in and see what the voice is and find out what anybody was talking about. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, channels have seemed a bit quiet at times. But I think it's a phase thing as people are getting holidays out of their systems as well. Okay, next to Guy. Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, G4 and RC and GY. Yep, as already been noted on an exercise yesterday, which was the Ridgewood Challenge, a 24-hour run. Can you imagine it? No. I wasn't doing the running, obviously. Yes, we used the DMR network for our engineering and back channel, side channel communication. Also covering some of the mobile vehicles as well, and to the most point it worked very well. We had the hotspots in the cars, and that provided good coverage when the analog was a bit in and out, but it also gave us a second channel for communication, which actually turned out to be very useful a couple of times, where the repeater, the analog main transport hadn't set up or was losing signal. We were able to use the DMR to carry on and finish the conversation and get things working again. So that covered really well. like the Graham, like the RAYNET in there, the DMR dashboard. Although I don't know, it looks very different from the PlayStyle one, doesn't it? So I don't know which one is better, or if at all. But I'm easy. I'm fine. Other than that, don't think there's anything else to add. So I shall pass it back. G4 and I'll see him 0 GUI.
0 GUI, G4 and RC returning. Okay, well, good to hear that the Retro Challenge went well. I've just pulled up Jason's article about Essex's support for the Clacton Air Show this week, which had 15 operators across 2 days, using 2 Motorola repeaters, 1 primary, 1 backup. So it looks like an islanded network. Maybe Neil will have some experience of it when we come to him next. Yeah, I always think about looking at my dashboard to one side. What was crossing my mind then, guys, we should really get some people who have our net controllers also putting some video towards Graham, so you can actually have a change of person talking and see the face behind the call once in a while, and at least it will give us a test of shifting net control to somebody else for the video as well. Right, I'll park my next thought and we'll go straight to Neil. Mike 0, November Alpha Sierra, @ mobile. Over to you, Neil. G4 and RC, over. Mike 0, November Alpha Sierra Mobile, M0NAS, G4 and RC, over. For an RC, if he was mobile, it maybe he's going to a place where the phones don't do data. We'll keep Neil on the list, call him next time around. Meanwhile, we'll move down the list, 2 to go. And it's Mike Whiskey 0, Lima Oscar Mike, over to you, Paul, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, M0 LOM, and Greg and the rest of the minute. Yes, nothing to report really. I'm in mid-Wales at the moment, testing out the little MiFi portable little box that I've got all in one sandwich box thing that I think is a good idea to use, and it appears to be working fine. So, yeah, good to test it out, and hopefully we'll catch up again next week. Thank you, Greg. G4 NRC, M0 LOM.
Mike Whiskey 0, Lima Oscar Mike, G4 and RC returning. It's working very well. No losses, no bit error rate issues. Mobile DMR link is working wonderfully, Paul. And a reminder that in what was meant to be my 3-day weekend didn't quite work out. I've got not a full-blown Wi-Fi, but a bit of a homebrew job with a Pi and a mobile phone hat sat on top of it that I really need to persuade into being a mobile DMR hotspot with its own Wi-Fi and phone connection as required, just to give myself some mobility. Because I did kind of miss it. It was a trip to Doncaster yesterday, but didn't feel like programming in all the many repeaters to access to get from Chester to Doncaster. Anyway, still good results from you. And the final one on the list so far is Les. Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu, over to you, Les. G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, G3 and RC and 0 JBZ. Yes, all okay, no problems. I am watching the YouTube. The only thing is, I have not subscribed. When I click subscribe, I've got to have a Gmail email that it likes, so I'll have to look into that. But it is very good. I know it's work in progress, which is fine. So I think it's fine. I'm working today from a home brew, and it's sort of made on SDEC at the minute. Router. Would you believe I've got a Z80 processor which I rescued, and that's the heart of it, onto USB inputs on my mobile phone. So it's a bit of a latch up, but I am working on it. Anyway, that's all from here. Weather's been really nice, and I'll speak to you all next week. Mike 0 Juliet Victor Zulu.
Zero Juliet Victor Zulu G4NRC. Okay, as you shouldn't need to have a Gmail account to subscribe to YouTube, I know I certainly don't. It just gets pushy trying to herd you towards its solution of choice. And equally, now you know what to search for, the only joy of subscribing is you'd get a ping to tell you that new content was available on Graham's channel. So don't get misled by the user experiences that Google and others make you go down to herd you towards their solution of choice. There are other fine email providers out there, and they have to work with them. Interesting, your comments on the Z80 processor reminded me that I've actually got some industrial archaeology out in the shed. I've got, I think, a couple of Z80 processors and some of the associated era UART chips, and I even had ready to build up a complete 8080 processor, which was a great project when I started it back in the 80s and never got finished, and it just sits in a box here with one day we'll get around to it. Okay, that's cleared our list. Let's get to the fun question answers so far. I found it a touch surprising, but then realising how the American work, maybe not. The American results of 80 votes were 95% would ignore the national request and stay with their local user services doing the local event. Only 2% would switch to the national emergency, and 2% would give up and switch off the station. Didn't quite say and go for a beer, but the sentiment was there. I found that rather driven by America has no concept of user services for their amateur license, and they also have no great national structure. So their first allegiance does tend to be to their absolute local authority or local police, and would probably not do anything for federal even if they had to. So interesting, those who fed back, thanks for that. Other general comments, this week in West Cheshire we've got the joy of having an event clash already in autumn, which Graham and I will need to have a quick phone call about at some point this evening. So we've got one event clash already where organisers have smashed a horse ride straight on top of a major marathon, so we'll be sharing that one with one of our adjacent groups, no doubt. And this afternoon's HFnet, which should have been a data net, I have distinct problems making any connections, which brings it back to what if emergencies are at home and should I actually be testing a load more stuff on the front lawn before I even try and take it out. See you, Graham. G7NEH, G4NRC, over. G4NRC, G7NEH. Yeah, no problem, Greg. I'll await the phone call a bit later. I think we've had perhaps another clash in years gone by, so that's probably an easy one to sort out. Right, so the news on the live stream, we've had 13 views so far today, and there's 6 viewing at the moment. That was up to 7 at one point. And 3 likes, so yeah, get that wide button, folks. And just noting down, the chat's quite active today. I was commenting about getting the UPS. I said that I'm thinking about getting a Jackery, maybe at some point. And then another comment from Ian that the UPS will be useless to power your router if you've got a full fibre in your house, like I have, and I think I has as well.
So when your telephone off, you lose all your internet and phone access. So you will be relying on the mobile coverage from your mobile phone. So there you go, one to bear in mind. Right, with that, not a lot else to add from this end. You, G4NRC, G78. G7 G4NRC returning. And anybody watching the video has seen that I clicked a little bit too early, so my system hadn't unlocked enough to make up the rest of the DMR networks. Right, yeah, funny how we're all getting the same thoughts. I'd also figured, yes, I'm likely to get gifted a Jackery for reasons you know, Graham. Hopefully before Christmas. So a Jackery, for those that don't know, it is a brand of very large lithium-ion battery with an inverter attached and some solar panels, which will feed up to 200 watts peak power out of it. You get the big ones. This seems excessive to power routers and local networks. So I had thought, do I want a UPS just for the main comms kit? Note that a lot of routers now do have the USB socket on the side, which expects to find a 4G or some other form of mobile phone connection. So if your full fibre fails over, then then you can have a failover onto the phone network and run out on that one. Which is where we come to how many single point failures do we want on any particular network, and how many alternative routes can we find. So it's a good discussion, sounds like it's happening on the chat box. And I had a good presentation at Stockport RAYNET on Monday, where they are moving to trying IP telephony over Wi-Fi networks. And again, it's, well, let's get a network running first, and then put the layers of resilience on afterwards. So we had quite a good chat about how we could get some of these IP telephony puddles that exist around RAYNET linked together into one bigger system, cross-connect, just to grow interest like we did with DMR. Okay, thanks Graham. Drop me a WhatsApp for when you think it's convenient to call you later. And over to you, Dave. Hopefully still happy with your audio reports. M7AVO, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate the report. It was just it's quite a cheap, it's actually ICOM headset, but I know it works with the little Linko from Amazon. And it arrived yesterday, so I said give it a test today, as you say, for the test equipment. Not a great deal to add this end now, Greg. Appreciate taking the net. If anybody's interested locally, we have the Red Arrows out and about, leaving Chester Arden Airport in about 7 minutes, and we'll be back there for their tea, I presume, about 1900 hours, and we'll be leaving again, arriving back 1657, so arriving back very shortly at Arden Airport, leaving again 1920, and heading back across to the east of the county if anybody wants to have a look out for them. Back to you, Greg. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4NRC. Okay, thanks for the tip off of the Red Arrows. I did get pinged earlier by Mike M1DDN saying that the Lancaster was apparently overflying Cheshire earlier. He wondered whether or not I'd heard it over Chester, but then he clarified it didn't come quite close enough to me, which explained why I was hearing more EasyJets than Lancasters. Okay, ICOM microphone is compatible. Thanks for that tip as well, Dave. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Next to Trevor for a final. G4KUJ, G4NRC, over.
Right, second time lucky. G4 NRC in the group P4KUJ. Replying. Okay, stations. Yeah, I forgot to mention the question you asked earlier on. I think the view we take with our NRF is we would stick with the NRF, a local operation, until told to do something otherwise. If we were told to transfer to national, that's what we'd do. I'll switch my backdoor system over to 40 metres when we've finished here, so if you're around later, you can try connecting there. Otherwise, nothing from I don't think. So I'll keep around till the end, but I won't make another transmission. Cheers to you and to everyone else. G4NLC, G4KUJ.
KUJ, G4NRC returning. Okay, Trevor, well, 60 watts of Pactor on 5 megahertz for the mobile whip. Got a very partial connection to you. Not enough to start the exchange. So, yeah, switch to 40 meters would be a useful idea. And at the close of the net, I will shut this system down and move it back to Pactor and swap bands as well, and hopefully pick up that message. Okay. Thanks for that. And up to Aberdeen again. Golf Mike 1 X-ray Echo Alpha G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from GM1XEA. Just jealous I can't see the red arrows from up here. Yeah. Nothing really to add at all. No, nothing to add, so I'll just say 73s to the group, and thanks to you, Greg, for being the boss again. Over.
Golf Mike 1 X-ray Echo Alpha G4NRC. Okay, Peter, good to hear you back on though. Not distracted by the local ambulance service. And yeah, you have reminded me that I need to have an unsubtle reminder to everybody else now. Basketball season restarts something like the third week of September, so my Sundays get challenged to be able to run the net and get to where I need to be for my season ticket. So we will need to spread things around a little bit more, pretty please. But I'll get the dates sorted out and we'll figure out how we can keep it all covered. Okay, thanks Peter, talk to you soon. Then to Alan, Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha G4NRC, over.
Yeah, M0 JSA returning, hopefully. Can't see the dashboard at the moment. Yes, I'm on the dashboard. Yeah, nothing much else to add. Just a social thing really, that I was at away down in the Malverns with Boundless, the old formerly known as the CSMA, on a social group trip, which is the first one I've done, and that was very good. So let's see, we'll sign up for another one. In end of April next year, we will be in Chester, all being well, so it won't be that far away from you, Greg and co. We're staying at the Double Tree by Hilton, if that means anything to you. It looks a nice area. I'd be interested to see what Chester is like. Definitely more hilly than Felixstowe and Suffolk. Hopefully we'll be on again next week. So we're 73 to you all, and back to you, Greg. G4NRC, M0 JSA in the group.
M0 JSA, G4NRC returning. Okay, Doubletree Hilton, yeah, I know that one under a variety of previous hotel names. I'm just thinking, if I remember right, a few years ago they synthetically blew up part of it for a Bond film, or that was the idea. They did some film shooting around that hotel. It's a little flatter around here than you might think, so not too bad. And Chester, it's a tourist town. I've lived here too long, I don't appreciate it, but I'm sure you will enjoy seeing our complete set of Roman walls and double-stacked half-timbered shops and all the other things that we've got to attract the tourists in, and you'll be welcome. Remind me when we get closer, I've actually got John Echo India 7 India Golf is in Chester in a couple of weeks' time. So I need to figure out if I've got time to hook up with him as well as he's doing a bit of a tour around the country. Right, thanks. I'll talk to you soon. Final from Guy, please. Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, G4 and RC and 0 GY for a final. Yep, just to say, good idea on getting some other faces on the videos. Happy to try and figure out how to get my face forward. So don't mind doing that. I think that's a fine thing to do. Also, on the exchanges and keeping power going, there is a difference between fibre to the cabinet and fibre to the house, or fibre to the premises. If you have fibre to the premises, I believe all the junctions are all passive, so there is no powering required. The only power is then at the exchange itself, obviously to do the networking, and at your premise. If you have fibre to the cabinet and then copper to the house, then there will absolutely need to be power in that cabinet in order to power up the copper pair and provide service. And there is a physical device in the cabinet to manage that. No idea. I just did a quick Google to see how those get powered, the cabinets, and there is no. Well, I think in the 5 minutes or 10 minutes I spent searching, couldn't find any answer to that. So I don't know if there are UPS's batteries or anything else, or if it's on a separate power feed fed from the exchange. No idea. But it's a excellent point that if we do have fibre to the cabinet, then the cabinet also must stay live in order for those services to retain functionality. But I'm lucky enough I have fibre to the house, so I think, well, all the connections are passive, so it should be, as long as the exchange is running, I should maintain my internet service. But we'll see. It looks like we might be finding this out in the winter, so we'll find out. Anyway, that's it from me. I shall say thank you very much, Greg, for running the net as always, and others. And I'll speak to you all further down the log, as they say. Send me throughs from Mike 0, Golf Uniform Yankee.
Mike 0 Golf Uniform Yankee G4 and RC returning. Yeah, I was aware that fibre to the cabinet was power vulnerable. It was those cabinet installs that introduced me to an amazing thing called conducrete, which is conductive concrete, which they were using to try and earth the cabinets down properly for the power feeds that were being put into them. But I equally don't know whether that power feed was lifted off the local street lighting loop or whether it was from the exchange. Fibre to the home, my only knowledge of that so far is that one of the benefits BT are going to see out of the centralisation of fibre to the home is that a lot of the local exchanges will be bypassed. So as you say, it's more of a passive system. They were looking at really centralising down all these fibres to a slack handful of really centralised exchange areas, and not having to have one exchange to serve every 20,000 people or whatever the figure is. So that gave them a whole lot of land to sell for recycling telephone exchanges into very small houses, bungalows, depending on what they're like in your locality. So yeah, it will be all part of the learning experience as we go forward. Right, in theory, I've got Trevor's shown Laz, JVZ as out, and Paul, Mike Whiskey 0, Lima Oscar Mike is out, so we should just have Mike 0 November Alpha Sierra left to close the list. So Neil, are you back with us? M0 NAS mobile, M0 NAS G4 and RC, over. M0 NAS, M0 NAS, G4 and RC, over. No, nothing seen or heard. Guy, I think we need to keep an eye out for Neil, because he was having issues about having his hotspot roaming across all the different networks. and when he did log into us earlier, it was off his local hotspot. So I want you to keep an eye on him and make sure that the connections are working reliably. Do a quick check. Does anybody want to have a final? If you do, let's have your call sign now. If you've got any final comments for G4 and RC, over. Nothing, and nobody's complained about unfairly being shown as out, so we'll close the net. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your schedules this afternoon to come and take part. Be careful, have a good week, enjoy tomorrow's day off if you're in a country that allows you to do so. And until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net and return the net to an open rather than a directed net. So you can call who you like. 730 all. This is Golf 4, November Romeo Charlie now closing, and reverting to my normal call sign of Golf 0.